For us, being located and headquartered in Vancouver, British Columbia, we face some very harsh conditions. So it rains maybe 50% out of the year due to our approximation to the mountains, the Pacific Ocean, and the temperate rainforest. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, in a place like Toronto, you also have minus 20-degree weather and snow on a regular basis. So when we build our product, we come from a very functional and purposeful need on needing the clothing, but beyond that, we also take it from a point of view of it has to be stylish, and we want to be able to wear clothes that we enjoy wearing, but we want to be able to feel protected and comfortable in any situation we are. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. We're super excited for this season. We are entering a partnership and project with one of the most leading and innovative material suppliers in the world, and that's with GORE-TEX this season. We're super excited for this initiative as it opens up a whole new space for us to build some of the highest quality products in the world. And to start off the initiative, we wanted to have a discussion between myself. For those that don't know, I'm Arthur. I'm one of the co-founders and the director here at Haven, and I'm joined by Tung in our Vancouver, BC design studio. He'll be discussing some of the construction, some of the manufacturing, and how our product is made. And along with him, we're joined by our good friend Jörg Haas out of Berlin, Germany. Jörg, he runs Beinghunted agency out there. Culturally, he's one of the most knowledgeable people in the space, and he's been in the industry for a long time. And he also has been very instrumental in kickstarting GORE-TEX on a global lifestyle level. So he works very closely with the GORE-TEX team, and throughout this whole process of this 1 to 2 years, we've been working very closely with him on how we launch this initiative. So thank you, Jörg, for joining us here today. We're super excited to have this conversation. And please, maybe to start is, how did you come to be in the industry that we are right now? And how did your relationship start with GORE-TEX in general?
Hi, Arthur. Hi, Tung. Thank you very much for having me. It's really exciting because, as you, Arthur, just said, we've known each other for 15, 16 years almost. When you started, we have a similar trajectory with retail. I left retail a couple years ago. And right around that time when I left retail, I started my agency, Beinghunted, which is a reboot of my website from back in the early 2000s. And one of our earliest big clients was actually GORE-TEX brand, who at the time had a new strategy for Europe, which now has spread a bit out for lifestyle. And we're not getting into that definition here, but over the last 5 to 6 years, that's where we helped them the most to enter the lifestyle category or shed more light and give more focus on that category. And I think that, if I remember correctly, we also started that conversation about you guys potentially using GORE-TEX for your own brand maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So it's been quite long in the making, and I'm really excited that, finally the first products are coming out and that we can talk about your experience with GORE-TEX, your way, your path to getting the products finished, and overall talk about the behind the scenes, so to say, about your experiences and the GORE-TEX brand and the products that came out of this relationship so far.
I think it was 3 years ago when we were in Paris during Fashion Week, and you had an event with GORE-TEX and GORE-TEX Studio, and we met some of the team out there, and that was kind of the start of the genesis of that relationship building with the GORE-TEX team, and it took probably about 2 to 3 years of back and forth discussions and working with their team, and it's really exciting after a while because it's one of the material suppliers that we when we started working on our own projects, we wanted to work with from the very start. So that relationship coming into fruition, we're super grateful.
I'm sure that you have customers that grew up with you that maybe from first like buying t-shirts, they progressed as you progressed. So what is your, like the typical person look like, or where do they live? What sort of expectations do they have? Do you have any idea? Do you consider that in any way?
Over time, we developed a very global customer. So we have customers all over the world, but one of the key identifiers is that they have a very discerning taste. So they have a good understanding of product and craftsmanship and design already as a baseline. And they're also in tune with what they want as products. Over the years, understanding that and kind of trying to build to that level took some time. And I think with this new partnership with GORE-TEX, it really allows us to take our own product to a whole new level and really cater to this customer that is demanding the highest quality performance in their products, not from just like an outdoor perspective, but from an everyday perspective. This customer wants the best product.
And I believe from the history of your retail business that you've been building for 15 years, you have a customer that's very particular, who would look twice probably and ask, why are you doing this? Because there's already XYZ in the market, and you can just tell them straight, and you can just tell them right away, this is why we do it, right?
We're building product not just for our aesthetically what we want in our clothes, but also functionally it works in our extreme environment. So we're testing it always against the hardest conditions.
And with this GORE-TEX partnership, it pretty much is the final piece to the puzzle when it comes to building out the Haven brand, to provide that layer of protection that we, as users are always, keen on having.
I don't have any experience producing clothing except for doing print t-shirts, which, sometimes really drives me mad. But imagine doing a jacket, for example, and then doing a GORE-TEX jacket. I can't imagine. And I think a lot of people don't know how much work goes into it, how many components there are in one piece of clothing and then one jacket. Tell us.
When it comes to products, the consumer is very spoiled in the fact that what they see on the rack doesn't really fully showcase the amount of work and the amount of hands, the amount of minds that go into building that product that's on the hanging on that rack. When it comes to building product, especially from our end being quite fully engaged, we work very closely with our pattern makers to make sure that the fit is correct, the ergonomics of the sleeves, all the different details are in line. And a lot of times with a GORE-TEX fully seam sealed jacket, that can mean 40, 50 pieces. There's a lot of hidden components, like you mentioned, where it's necessary, but it's invisible to the eye.
So there's the outdoor, which you guys are familiar with, like the hardcore performance where you need it the most. And then there's the super teched out, over the top, where you're like, okay, how many pockets do I have? Where's my phone? And where do you position Haven, like the part of the Haven collection that's the functional one, that's using GORE-TEX? Where would you position that?
So when we started the partnership with GORE-TEX, we were taken on as one of the key North American partners to help bring GORE-TEX materials, which are typically used in outdoor performance type brands. And our approach is to take those technical materials beyond the outdoors and into everyday life. So Haven comes from a very authentic lifestyle perspective. That's been from the start of our company over the last 15 years, where we've really developed this keen understanding of lifestyle apparel. And now with the relationship with GORE-TEX, we're able to take that those material expertise that they have and bring it into an everyday kind of approach. So that's where our expertise comes into. So we could tell it from a very authentic lifestyle perspective, something that an outdoor brand can never do because they're authentically outdoor.
With GORE-TEX, you have picked a material that in its at the highest level of the production, it takes a bit more than just like doing the sewing. You need to comply to a certain standard of requirements. The garments have to be tested when it goes to the fully waterproof, which I think you guys are also working on for the next release, for the next collection. How did you experience that? Was that something that was, because you've been making your product for a couple of seasons now and you started with GORE-TEX. How did that impact your process, designing, or the whole workflow? Did that have any impact, or were there any learnings, anything interesting about that aspect?
We've really embraced it and used that to inform our design language as well when it comes to the garments. So whether it be laser cut laminated zippers, or being able to build the pockets in a way that that shields the water as well. So using that information, using the testing standards, we're able to achieve something that is outside of our usual realm, but still maintaining our brand's visual DNA.
Apart from the actual design, which people are into, this term longevity is something that's really coming up more and more now. And I think on the level that you create product, it's something that I assume that you're also looking for, to create something that's not just 1 season, 2 seasons, but that's, people will keep for a longer period of time. And I think when I think of a GORE-TEX product, also if it's the fully waterproof, the fully seam taped, you have a lifetime guarantee on the seam tape. So it's a product that can have for more than a couple of years, a couple of months. How do you see that play into your strategy, or design process, or product strategy, I think in general, in a bigger context?
We've always kind of approached our design from a very utilitarian approach, not necessarily from a fashion approach, because a lot of the fashion design comes from sometimes not such a purposeful intent, and we're always designing to try to make the product as timeless and as long lasting as possible. And that goes down to sustainability and at the core values of sustainability as well. And working with a partner like GORE-TEX, they also have these initiatives that are baked into their product design as well. So as they strive and push towards more sustainable ways of producing materials, that also allows us to push our products to ensure that is built into our DNA as well.
With our product, we really try to balance familiarity with ingenuity. So a lot of these items are based off of your classic archetypes of men's clothing. So pulling from military, workwear, sportswear, all these elements, and even outdoor apparel, we're able to pull those elements into the mix and be able to build a product that at first glance is quite familiar, but upon further inspection, all the design details come through, whether through pocket solutions, especially material choices. In this case with GORE-TEX, whether it's a GORE-TEX 3-layer waterproof shell, or a really comfortable, supple, soft shell windstopper. So all these elements combined provides, we approach it in a way so that we can provide the wearer with a very modern product that exudes performance, while being able to really be integrated into a very classic, everyday, outfit and wardrobe.
Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us here on this discussion. Stay tuned for the next coming weeks as we launch our first capsule in partnership with GORE-TEX. We look forward to seeing everybody's reaction, and hopefully in the future we could continue these types of conversations, and as COVID subsides, we could do them in person again.